Pauline, you're on mute.
Sorry, I'll start again. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our remote meeting of the Statutory Licensing Subcommittee. I am Councillor Pauline Craythorne, Chair of the Subcommittee, and I'm joined by Councillor Peter Atkinson, Liz Brown, Leanne Kennedy and Marion Wilson. Please note this meeting is being recorded live to the Council's website and will be available to be viewed for a minimum of 6 months. I would like to give a warm welcome to members of the public or media who are watching this live feed of the meeting. Before I commence with the formal business of the agenda, I would like to cover some of the housekeeping issues for us all to follow in order to have an efficiently run meeting as possible. For those participating in the meeting, could you please only speak when invited to speak by myself as Chair? Keep your microphones on mute at all times unless invited to speak. Members, if you wish to speak, would you use the raised hand function that will indicate to me that you wish to speak? Once invited to speak, please introduce yourself with your name and position, unless you have already introduced yourself earlier in the meeting. If I lose my connection, please note that Councillor Liz Brown will take over in my absence until my connection is restored. Now moving on to the agenda. Item 1. Are there any apologies of absence, please, Jill?
No apologies for absence, Chair.
Item 2. Are there any substitute members, please, Jill?
No, we have no substitute members, thanks, Chair.
Item 3. Declaration of interest. Item 4. The agenda is an application for the grant of a premises licence for 122 Cocton Hill Road, Bishop Auckland. I would like to welcome the parties to the hearing, who are Mr. Ravichandran, the applicant, objectors Mr. David Ripley and Miss Hannah Pearson. We also joined by the licensing team leader Helen Johnson, and the legal advisor for the subcommittee this afternoon is Jill Proud. Please note that all 5 members will sit during the hearing today, but only 3 will make the decision. I will now ask the legal advisor to explain why we do this and run through the procedures. Can I hand over to you, Jill?
Chair, before we go on, can I just check that Mr. Ravichandran is still, he is. It's just his screen had frozen and I was worried we lost him, but he is still here. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. As indicated, this is a statutory licensing hearing today in accordance with the Licensing Act of 2003, and that means that only 3 members can sit on the panel and make the decision. However, as we've seen, people do experience issues with IT, lose connection. It can also be that during the hearing a conflict of interest arises or someone may take ill, which would then force them to retire. If we didn't have additional members who could then step in, it would mean that the hearing would have to be adjourned and would have to be rerun at another time. So the purpose is to have additional members here who will sit and listen to the whole hearing, and then a decision will be made at the end of the hearing as to who will decide. In relation to the procedure for today, we will hear from Mrs. Johnson, the licensing team leader, and this is in relation to the premises licence application for 122 Cocton Hill Road. Mrs. Johnson will outline the licensing report, and all parties will have an opportunity to ask questions of Mrs. Johnson. At this stage, if I could please just ask you to limit your representations to questions only. That's in relation to the report. All parties, whether it be the applicant or the people making representations against the application, will be given an opportunity to present their own case at a later stage. We will then hear representations from the objectors in turn, and again, all parties will have an opportunity to ask questions of the objectors. Finally, we will hear from Mr. Ravichandran, who is the applicant, and questions will follow this. Once all representations have been made, the parties will be invited to sum up, and the order will be the licensing officer, the objectors, and then finally the applicant, Mr. Ravichandran. Following that, the subcommittee will then retire to deliberate in private, and all parties will be notified by telephone later today. Following the call, you will receive a notice of determination which sets out the reason for the decision and the decision itself. And if I could just finally advise you, as the legal advisor today, I may need to step in if an issue arises that I need to give advice on, and I will do so if that's appropriate. I think, as far as I'm aware, Miss Carter is not in attendance, and can I just ask everyone to confirm that they have read the written representation submitted by this objector? Yes, everyone's nodding, and therefore that will be taken into consideration even though she's unable to attend. I understand that's due to work commitments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair. Now can I hand over to Helen, please, the licensing officer, for her report.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm Helen Johnson, the licensing team leader, and I'll go through the report. So this is for the determination of the application for the grant of a premises licence for 122 Cocton Hill Road, Bishop Auckland. A plan showing the location of the premises is attached as Appendix 2, which is at page 10. The application, which is attached as Appendix 3, pages 12 to 28, was received on the 15th of June 2020 by Mr. Ravichandran. The consultation ended on the 13th of July. The application originally was requested for the supply of alcohol for consumption off the premises from 5 AM until 11 PM Monday to Sunday. However, you'll see at Appendix 4, pages 30 and 31, that following mediation with Durham Constabulary, Mr. Ravichandran amended the application to revise the start time for the sale of alcohol to 8 AM. He also agreed some additional conditions around CCTV in the premises, training of staff, introducing a Challenge 25 policy as well when checking ID, when the sale of alcohol. So during the 28-day consultation period, we did receive 4 objections from other persons. They're attached as Appendix 5, pages 34 to 44. We did receive no comments in regards to the application from the Planning Authority, Durham County Council's Environmental Health Department and the Fire Safety Authority. Those are all attached as Appendix 6, pages 46 to 48. The subcommittee's asked to determine the application with a view to promote the licensing objectives, and it's recommended to give appropriate weight to the steps that are appropriate to the promotion of the licensing objectives. The representations, including any support and information presented by all parties. Durham County Council Statement of Licensing Policy, which you'll see the relevant parts attached as Appendix 7, pages 50 to 60. And also the Section 182 guidance under the Licensing Act. Those again, relevant parts are attached as Appendix 8, pages 62 to 71. The options available to members today are to grant the licence subject to conditions that are consistent with the operating schedule, accompanying the application in the mandatory conditions set out within the Act, grant the licence subject to modified conditions to that of the operating schedule where the committee considers it appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives and the mandatory conditions set out in the Licensing Act 2003, to exclude from the scope of the licence any of the licensable activity to which the application relates to, refuse to specify a person on the licence as the designated premises supervisor, or lastly, reject the application. Thank you, Chair, and I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much, Helen. Mr. Ripley, do you have any questions just on the report?
No, no, I haven't. No, I've read it also, but I've got no questions, no. Okay.
Right, thank you. Miss Pearson, have you any questions on the report?
No, not on the report, thanks.
Mr. Ravichandran, have you any questions on the report?
No, I don't have any question.
Right, thank you. Thank you, Helen. Is there any questions from the legal advisor? No.
No, Chair, no, thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Now we will turn to the objectives representation. Could I ask Mr. Ripley to bring your representation forward, please?
Hello, you can hear me?
Yes.
Right. I'm not sure what I should be saying here, to be honest, but I take it everybody's seen the letter of objection that I put in, so you know the family circumstances that we've got. The fact is that we live right next door to this shop, and the opening hours that are proposed, combined with the actual licensing application, I think it's going to make life a bit of a nightmare for us. I'm anticipating. If the open hours are going to be there till 11 o'clock on a night, and that's not just 5 days a week, that's 7 days a week. Whether that ever gets to include Christmas Day, New Year's Day and all the rest of the bank holidays, I'm not sure. I would question the antisocial behaviour report that was put in, and it just seems as though there's been no research done into that as to what's happened with the shop in Beaumont Street, where apparently there's been a lot of bother with kids gathering outside the shop late at night, damage being done to property. And I was also questioning why the shop, which has been a newsagent for as long as I've lived here, which is about 34 years now, the fact that, one, it's never got planning permission to be a shop, and it's now going up to being a store, selling a lot more wider range of goods, and it's the opening hours and the licensing attracting kids, or not just kids, but general antisocial behaviour. I'm quite say there's going to be gangs of, or not gangs, but groups of people stood outside there. We already suffer from litter being dropped over into our yard because there's no rubbish bins out there, and I can only see that problem getting worse in the future. So that's why we've objected to this, and I think that's about all I've got to say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ripley. Helen, would you like to come in with any questions or clarify any
questions, Chair? No.
Right. Mr. Ravichandri, would you like to ask any questions of Mr. Ripley's report?
Yes, just a basic question. At the moment, the property is running as a newsagent. We are planning to buy and convert as a premier store, as a convenience store. Our opening time going to be only Monday to Sunday, 5 to 10. But when I apply 5 to 11, just for safety reason. The shop going to be, is it standard, normal, proper shops like in Crook and Taulo, like a basic premier stores? I don't know where we're going to be any disturbance of neighbors or around the communities. I don't know how he feel, because opposite of a shop had a petrol station with a...
Sorry, Chair, could I just interrupt at this stage? I'm sorry, Mr. Ravichandran. This is what I indicated earlier. It's just questions from what Mr. Ripley has put forward. So if you have any questions from what Mr. Ripley's just said, or the written information that he submitted to the licensing authority, then this is your opportunity to question Mr. Ripley. Don't worry, you will be given an opportunity to present your case, but at the moment it's just questions of the objectors. Does that clarify?
Yeah, it's all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Pearson, do you have any questions at all?
No, I don't have any questions. I've got the same views, really. I don't know if you want to hear that now.
Well, it's your yes, it's your chance to put.
I wasn't sure if you said, because you said Helen before. I didn't know if you were meaning me or someone else.
Oh no.
Right, no.
Would you like to put your objection?
Yeah, it's just exactly the same sort of things, really. I mean, obviously my letter has kind of outlined the proximity of shops selling alcohol. There's obviously 3 within sort of a mile, including a garage that's right across the road that's 24-hour. There is, obviously I'm facing the garage and I'm literally right next to the shop. There's quite a lot of antisocial behaviour on an evening from the garage that I can hear over here. I've got a 6-year-old in the house. It's just, I just don't see that it's necessary. There's 4, 5, 6 supermarkets within a couple of miles. And again with the litter, I walked out the other day with my little girl. We've got litter pickers because she picks the litter up out of the front yard. And there was like 3/4 full can of Foster's on the top of my wall, and there was half a bottle of Corona literally like round the corner on the kind of way into the shop. But that was, I can't remember the exact day. I actually thought about taking a picture, but that was like midweek. So it's quite a, I don't think there's a necessity to have somewhere else to buy alcohol, especially not right on my doorstep, because it seems to be right on my doorstep anyway, really. So that's my main objection. It's the necessity. There isn't a necessity for it.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pearson. Do any members have any questions of either of the... Yes, Liz.
Councillor Liz Brown from Neville's Cross. It's a question for both of you. Could you just clarify, is there antisocial behaviour outside this premises at the moment?
Not outside the shop. There is from the garage, which is across the road. I've seen people fighting sort of in the garage forecourt, or just like you can hear them quite loud over there. Because I use the room next to the road is actually my front room, so that's like on a night where I'll be sat. So quite often I'll like look out the window and there's a bit of a hoo-ha happening and whatnot. And I just think a lot. I mean, I don't know. I'm not involved with it, but a lot of the time you tend to know from the time of night that there's been a few drinks had, or you know. And I just don't see really a need to have another shop that sells alcohol so close. And similar to what we were saying before, it's like a nice independent news agent. It's you know, it's a nice sort of, it's a nice shop to go into. It's not, it's quite a local, like, well, quite a nice little shop. You know, you go and get your pick and mix or your whatever else. You know, it's not. It's just yeah, it'd just be a shame, I think, because it's predominantly residential on this street as well. There's not really, you know, it's not really, in my mind, necessary.
Thank you.
Helen, have you got a question, please?
Yeah, can I just ask both Miss Pearson or Mr. Ripley, how would you feel if this shop opened longer till 11 o'clock but didn't sell alcohol? Because it could do that now. We could open up late without a licence. It's obviously just applying for a licence for the alcohol. So is it because it's selling alcohol that it's proposing to sell alcohol, or is it because it's going to open later?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
I would still have a problem with extended opening hours without the alcohol licence. It's a combination of the two as far as I'm concerned. It's just we get the noise from the garage. We have horns going off at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning when they're trying to attract the attendant there. We've got the problem with the boy racers coming out of there and deciding that they need to get 0 to 60 in about 2.5 seconds, with the wheeling of the tyres and the loud exhausts. I had one time a gentleman who decided he would urinate in my front yard. That's a long time ago, but it's a combination of the alcohol and the extended opening hours till 11 o'clock at night, which is what the application is. And I can just say the two just being a volatile mixture, which is going to affect the quality of our lives. I'm 67, my wife's 72, and we've got a 93-year-old lady, my mother, who's living with us because she's got dementia. And I just don't think that we need to, or we should have to cope with the problems that I can foresee in the future with this application going through. That's basically my point of view with regard to the hours. It's a combination of the two, but even if it was just an extension of the hours, I would still have a problem with that.
Ms Pearson, have you any?
Yeah, well, it's the same really. It's just, as I've sort of said several times, there's just no need for it. There's a 24-hour garage across the road, which again isn't you know, it creates trouble in itself, but that's not the discussion. But if you need something at that time of night and you don't want to walk, I don't know, half a mile or even a mile to the supermarket, then there is somewhere that you can get the necessities. You know, there's no need to have a shop in this area open any longer. There's one round the back, there's, as I say, the garage straight across the road. And there's 6 major supermarkets, 4 small shops, all within, I think, less than 2 miles. I think there was 2 of them that were over 2 miles. So, you know, I have a car, I can drive, but I've walked to Tesco before, during the lockdown. It's not, unless you're someone who obviously has a disability, it's quite easy to walk to. And as I say, if you were someone who lived very locally and did have a disability, there are actually shops that are on the doorstep already.
Thank you. Councillor Brown, have you another question?
Yes, Chair, thank you very much. Just a quick one. Is there a heightened police presence along Cocton Hill Road because of this ASB?
No. Back in the day, we used to be able to see the police going down on the morning, coming back at the lunchtime, the shift changed. The afternoon shift, you'd see them walking past and then coming back on the night. But now we don't see police in Cocton Hill. They seem as though they are in the station, and when problems occur down the street, then you see the cars flying down with the blues and twos on the go. But other than that, we just don't see police unless specifically they call it to a specific incident. I think during the lockdown, we saw police twice walking past, but it just seems as though it's the policy of the Chief Constable that all her officers stay in the station until such times as they're required, and then they go out there on the car. But there's no actually beat officer in Cocton Hill.
So you haven't felt the need to ring them because of this antisocial behaviour?
No. I mean, at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you've got kids shouting over the road. What you're going to do? Are the police going to be coming out to it? I don't see the point in doing that. It's a waste of everybody's time, basically, because I can't see them attending.
Thank you, Mr. Ripley.
Okay. Can I just make one other point about?
Yes, Mr. Ripley.
About the application. It's just that I'd stress that this property is in the middle of residential accommodation. It's not at the end of the street or away from houses. It's in the middle, and affects me at 120 and the lady on the opposite side who's on 124. We live next to this place. We're the ones that are going to be deeply affected by it. Now, it could be that in the future there'll be no problems, but experience tends to suggest that there will be problems, and we are the ones that are going to suffer from that. As simple as that. Right, thank you.
Jill, have you any questions?
No, Chair, I don't have any questions of the object. No. Thank you.
Mr. Ravichandran, before we start, are the children in the same room as yourself?
No.
No, it's just we can hear children and it's a little bit distracting.
No, I don't have any children around here. I'm just sitting by myself.
Oh, right. Is the children somewhere then?
Is it a female?
Pardon?
Is it a female?
It sounds like it. Right, we'll wait till the lady comes back.
You're going to have to be a bit quieter, please. Well.
Sorry about that. Right, Mr. Ravichandran, would you like to present your case to the committee? as why we should consider giving you a licence.
So my name is Ravi Chandran. I'm an owner of a Premier store in Crook, Taulo. We have also two post offices. We have also mobile post offices in Crook. So we planning to buy this property to convert as a Premier store. That's mean for local store. So basic, normal, like a standard price, is not robbing customers with cheapest price, milk, bread, what the essential items. So we have in Crook and Taulo together, we have around 27 staffs are working for us. So we are creating a lot of jobs. The same thing when we're going to buy, when we are taking over Bishop Auckland, we're going to have around 8 staff going to work for us. So without alcohol license, we can't create a Premier store, fully Premier store. We can't create it. We need an alcohol license. So that's mean we have from alcohol, groceries, newspapers, everything else, or completely like a mini supermarket base. So I have 9 years experience with premises license. I never failed anywhere. I work with the police and work with the council together. If anybody have a doubt about that, they can ask Crook Police or Taulo, and Crook councillors, they can ask anybody in councils. I have also license on my name in Crook cricket clubs while we are serving alcohol with our supervisors. So if this last 9 years, I did my job right way, why I'm going to fail in Bishop Auckland? That's my first question. Second, I know my responsibility. My son goes in the same corner on Bishop Auckland in St. John's School. He's 13 years old. I'm a same dad. I know what's the mean to serve an alcohol for child. We use CCTV cameras, recorded for 28 days. We use refusal books, challenge 25. We follow every single works with my staff. I will do my best job. If you see just a basic example, before I moved to Crook, in Crook, milk price was £1.29 per 2 litre bottles. After I moved here, milk price is 99 pence, still in the 9 years long. I think I'm not doing bad job. I would do the same thing in Bishop Auckland. Alcohol is one of the part in my business. It's not mainly I'm selling alcohol. The third, my question is, in Bishop Auckland, is one small store. It's not going to change Bishop Auckland's life. Bishop Auckland is a big town. They are living a lot of good kids and few the bad kids. That's not mean they are bad. The incident will happen anywhere. It can be in Crook, Taulo, Bishop Auckland, even in Newcastle. Everywhere it can happen. We can't put them as a main reason. The third thing, the paper shop is struggling. They can't close down anytime. If they will close down, there's 6 jobs go to the road. We don't want it. We want to create a job. That's what we are doing. I know my responsibility, what I'm doing in the community. The third part, around my shops area, there's 4 businesses I have a license. The opposite my garage had a 24 hours license. First time when I applied for morning 5 to 11, 7 days a week. When I talked to the police officer, he explained to me what the situation is. And then I agreed to go with 8 o'clock until 10 o'clock. But I say, I'm going to open the shop until 10 o'clock. I'm not going to open until 11 o'clock. Because I know what he explained is the right reason. I'm going to work with the police and with the public. The parking issue, I saw that's a parking issue. There's so many places are to parking. Their side roads are there, opposite roads are there. There are so many places are there. They are not going to disturb anybody. I'm going to put in front of my shop private bins from our side. Every customer shop one bin. I'm going to remove the bin every day. I'm going to recycle that everywhere where I have to. I'm going to keep my place tidy and it's a good local store. I'm not going to disturb anybody. I'm not going to bother anybody if there's any problem. I do my business. If I work with the community, I know the neighbors should be my local customers. I don't want to be against them. I'm going to do my job right. The third parking issue. I don't know. I checked even before I applied for the license by council. There's no any limited. Anybody can able to have a license. It's a Bishop Auckland at the moment. If you see the town area, it's like a ghost town. You need a business in the town. We don't need to close any business. So if everybody happy, I will do it. If not, I'm going to fight more right. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not doing anything right. I'm going to take, in case if it get rejected, I'm going to take my legal advice, because I'm spending over £350,000. I'm not going to let down. I'm going to go through. I'm going to go up to end where I can go through. That's all what I can say. If any question anybody can ask me, I'm ready to answer for the question. Thank you for the chance.
Pauline, you're mute.
Hello.
Helen, have you any questions at all?
I haven't, Chair. I've got a few things, but I'll see if members raise it first.
Right. Thank you, Helen. Mr. Ripley, have you any questions of Mr. Ravichandra?
Sorry, I've just brought my microphone back online. No, I've got no questions, Chair. Thank you.
Miss Pearson, have you any questions of Mr. Ravichandra?
Yeah, I've got a couple. He was mentioning that he's thinking of obviously buying the business to create jobs, and I think I might be mistaken, but I'm sure he mentioned eight jobs or 6 jobs that would be lost if the property were to close. So I'm just wondering if he's going to be working there as well.
Yeah, I will work also hard. I will work at the yes.
Sorry,
sorry, Mr. Ravichandran. Can you just wait, and then I'll ask you to answer the question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was under the impression that the staff that are working there, obviously apart from the owners, were still going to be working there. So I'm just wondering, if you're creating more jobs, how many more jobs are you planning on creating if you're going to keep the staff, or is he not keeping the staff? That was just one of my questions.
Would you like to answer that question, Mr. Ravichandran?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes. All the staff who works in over there, we offer to them the job, so they are joining us to work. Then the opening hours going to be expanded. We have to hire extra 3 people, so we are already hiring people. We are training them in my other stores, so we're going to bring it over there, extra 3 staff. The first 6, so 1 year long, I'm going to be there every day. Me or my wife going to be there every day. We are training. We are working with the staff to get to know about the customers, train them staff properly to serve an alcohol. So we're going to be there first 6 months to 1 year. So the staff who works in over.
Can you still hear us, Mr. Ravichandran? Can you still hear me?
Chair, I think we must have lost connection. He's still in the meeting, but I think maybe if we can suspend for now and we'll try to bring him back in.
Right. Welcome back, everyone. Miss Pearson, could I ask you to ask your other question, please? You're on mute, Miss Pearson, you're on mute.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
There was another couple. He mentioned, obviously, that he's not going to fail. It's not a case of him failing and bothering people, which I get is completely like a personal note, but there seems to be no sort of recognition that it's not really just about whether the business can be built up. It's about who's going to be actually buying from the business. One of the things that I noticed that he said, he said that the price of milk was 99p, sorry, was £1.29, has now gone down to 99p. So obviously he was very sort of positive about bringing the prices down. First bit of my question, does that mean he's not going to be supporting local dairies like Lanchester, which is where it comes from now? And my second question, if the price of the milk is so cheap, then can I ask what the alcohol prices are going to be like in the shop?
Would you like to answer that, Mr. Ravichandran? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hello, can you hear me now? So
Yes,
our milk.
Would you like to answer Miss Pearson's question?
Cheaper than the other store. I tried to beat the price on everybody. While it's a Premier is a big buying group, so I tried to match the price with the other people because I have to survive my business.
So could I just ask, you wouldn't be supporting any local business?
If anybody needs it, I will support them because my milk is coming from local. I can't get beer from local because we don't have any local brewery in Bishop Auckland. Or the bread is coming. What we needed from local, we're going to use them what we local needed.
And so what would the alcohol prices be like then? Because obviously you're going for keeping everything as cheap as possible, which is understandable.
Yeah, but it's a priority, like essential products going to be cheaper than anybody else. That's my main concern. Milk, bread, sugar, what we needed, like a soft drinks or something. But alcohol price not going to be cheaper than anybody else. But I tried to match the price like in supermarket range. While we're going to buy for 3 stores, so we tried to get the price in where we have to survive.
Is that all your questions, Ms. Pearson?
Yeah, the other one was if I'm a little bit confused how he visualises making it a mini supermarket, as he said, because it's a very small shop. I have obviously been in the shop, and I'm just kind of thinking, once you've got the alcohol in, I'm not sure where that's going to be. You've obviously got your cigarettes behind the counter. He was saying he wants to sort of change it from being a newsagent. So is that going to be just basically cigarettes, alcohol, and a few bits of milk, a bit of sugar, a bit what? Because to me, it just sounds like it is going to be basically alcohol, cigarettes, a bit of milk, a bit of sugar.
No,
that's
so
yeah.
So what I'm saying is a mini supermarket it's not like a big range. Supermarket have like, if it's alcohol, they're going to have like a 20 meter long. We're not going to have a 20 meter long. We're going to have only 2.5 meter alcohol or 3 meter alcohol. Cigarette going to be under the counter, spirit going to be behind the counter. Like everything is going to be there, but small range. It's not a big range, small range. Like we're not going to give like a one product, 7 different items, 7 different products. So we're going to give one item, only 2 different products. That's all about.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Have any members any questions at all? Yes, Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of questions. One is just to clarify a point. Mr. Ravichandran mentioned closing at 10 o'clock. Was that a misspeak? And the other question is, he's heard the fears of the residents, and does he have any ideas what he can do to alleviate those fears? Thank you.
Would you like to answer that, Mr. Ravichandran?
I didn't understand the second question.
Sorry, Mr. Ravichandran. The residents are very, very worried about antisocial behaviour. Are there any measures that you feel you could be put in place that would alleviate those fears?
So the first answer is I apply for the license. The shop, I plan to open the shop until 11 o'clock, but we are not going to open 11 o'clock. That's just a safety reason. We apply until 11, but we're going to open shop only 10 o'clock, until 10, morning 5 to 10. So the safety reason about the young children. So we're going to keep only 2 or 3, maximum 2 or 3 kids in the school, in the shop. And then we try to avoid the kids hanging around the shop area. But I can't cross over the limit, so I can't go only further around the shop area. I try to avoid the kids hanging around. That I can't guarantee for that. And we try to be like the kids. We try to be nice, to treat the kids nice way to avoid to have any trouble over there. We have to learn the kids how we have to manage the kids with them. If you go stay against them, they're gonna give you trouble. So I can't do that. So I have tried to work with the kids how we can manage around the area to get a trouble. That's all about I can do it maximum.
Any more questions? No. Jill, have you any questions at all?
Yes, Chair. I'm not sure if Helen has any, but certainly I just had a question. It's just I'm a little uncertain in relation to the closing time. Mr. Ravichandran said that he's applied for 11 p.m, but he will only be open until 10 p.m. So I'm just asking him, because it's a consideration you can take into account the opening hours. So is he saying that he would be happy for the premises to close at 10 p.m, or is he saying that he wants it to be 11 p.m?
I'm going to close the shop until 10 o'clock.
Thank you. So you would be happy. So if I mean, obviously I don't know what the members are going to do, but if they did consider imposing a condition that it was closed, that alcohol sales ended at 10 p.m, then you would be happy with that?
Yeah, I am happy with that.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I think Helen, did you have some questions that you wanted to raise?
Yes, Helen.
Yeah, thank you, Jill. Mr. Ravichandran, you mentioned the store, and I know you have agreed with the police about CCTV. Obviously, the condition is very vague, so maybe for members' benefit as well. And obviously, if the licence was granted, is the CCTV going to be positioned throughout the shop, which would include the till area, which would include any sale of alcohol that would take place? Would it include where it was stored, where it was displayed within the premises? Would it also include the external area of the premises, where people come in and out of the store? If you could confirm that.
Yes, we're going to install 16 cameras. So we plan 2 cameras outside front of the side of the shop, like a main road, Cocton Hill Road area. The other 2 cameras are going to be back door. I have a back door also. So I'm going to fit them 2 cameras in. The other cameras, alcohol, till, cigarettes, and so all around inside the shops to cover everything in.
Okay. Did I catch that you'd said you provide rubbish bins outside?
Yeah, we're gonna provide own rubbish bin in the corner in my shop area next to the shops.
And you'd keep the outside immediate area clean and tidy and things like that?
Where my shop area, I'm going to keep it tidy and clean.
That's it from me, Chair.
Thank you, Helen. Could I just ask a question, please? On challenge 25, can I just ask Mr. Chandran, does your till, when you're selling alcohol, does it flash up?
Yeah. Yes, it's going to be flash up. Check the ID.
Yeah, to check that they're of age to buy alcohol.
That's right. See, for the tobacco, cigarettes, tobaccos, and alcohol, they're going to, when we scan it, they're going to show up to check the ID. So we have to confirm their ID, and then we can serve them customers.
Thank you very much. Right. Seems we've had all questions then. It'll be the final chance to address everyone. Could I ask Helen, please, to come in, the licensing officer? Do you have anything?
I've got nothing further, Chair. Obviously, just the options available to members are contained within the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ripley, do you want to have anything else to say in your summing up?
Hello.
Hello.
Just that I've no doubt about Mr. Ravichandran's good intentions and the fact that he wants to run a good business, etc., etc. But the simple fact is that myself and the other people in this area are the ones who are going to have to live with this thing day by day. With any problems that occur, it happens to us, not him, because he doesn't live here, and not anybody else outside of the area. We're the ones that are going to be affected by it, and that's why we've got the objections to it, because it is, as far as I'm concerned, going to have a detrimental effect upon our quality of life, and I don't see why that should be sacrificed for somebody to have a business, a profitable business like that. It's as easy as that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ripley. Ms. Pearson, would you like to sum up?
Just supporting really what Mr. Ripley says. I've actually only lived here since April of last year, and to be perfectly honest, if there was a premiere next door up until 10 o'clock, I would not have moved in. I actually drove round at night because I was already concerned about the shop being right next door. I drove past at sort of 7 one night and I noticed it was shut, and I thought, oh, that's okay. So I drove past later, you know, just to check that there wasn't a difference on the weekends and whatnot. I just think in a residential area, and obviously I've got a little girl, so that is my main concern really. I just don't think it's necessary to sell the alcohol or to be open late at night.
Thank you very much. Could I have any final comments? Sorry, from Mr. Ravichandran, please.
Yes. Hi. So I have to say, I'm living in Crook above my shop. My shop will open until 10 o'clock. I know what's a difference is. I can't understand they are scared about disturbance, but I guarantee it. If any problems comes, they can let me know. If I can, I will solve this problem out anywhere. But if in that case, if they think if it one store going to change a life, that's mean the Cocton Hill Road should be empty. No one should be living over there. Everybody should be moved out. That's a not case. Only one. I know it's always some disturbances there, but I try to avoid on my side. It's not going to have any trouble over there. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm really sorry. Could I just ask one last question?
No, I'm sorry. You've asked your questions. I'm sorry.
Right.
We've come to the summing up now. Could I have final comments, please, come from the legal advisor, Jill Proud? You're on mute, Jill.
No, that's fine. Thank you, Chair. It just took a second to come off. Yes, thank you. I think I don't have anything further to add other than to just invite you, Chair. Obviously, 5 members have heard the evidence this afternoon, so I just ask you to appoint 3 in order to deliberate before you close the meeting.
Right. As I'll be going into the deliberation, could I ask 2 councillors to join me in that, please? Councillor Liz Brown has her hand up, and Councillor Marion Wilson will be joining me in deliberations. Is that all right, Jill? Yes?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. We will now retire to consider the representations made by all parties. We'll be notified of the decision by the licensing officer later today. Item 5, any other business. I have not been informed of any items. That concludes the business, and before the broadcast ends, I would like to thank those members of the public and media who have watched this meeting. If you wish to find out the decision, please email licensing@durham.gov.uk. The address can also be found on the website with the papers for this meeting. Thank you very much.